Okay, in this video, we're going to talk about multiplying decimals. So we can see that I have two multiplying decimal problems here. And in 6th grade, we're going to move away from using the x for multiplication, and we're going to start seeing multiplication being written with either a dot, or we might see it written with parentheses such as 3 times 6 equals 18. Okay, so if we have a number next to parentheses with something inside of the parentheses, this is going to be multiplication. Okay, and so I'm going to start using these other symbols to get you guys used to seeing it without the x for multiplication. Now, the reason we're not going to use the x is because in 6th grade, we start talking about variables. And variables are where we start to use letters in our math. And oftentimes we use that x as a variable in our algebra material. Okay, so I'm just going to get you used to not seeing the x for multiplication. So for the problem number 1 here, I have 21 and 2/10 times 1 and 6/10. So when we're multiplying with decimals, we do not have to line up the decimals because our place value is going to be determined at the end. We'll see for this problem, the decimals just happen to line up when we put the numbers down. Okay, so we're just going to multiply this like we normally would with if they were just whole numbers. So 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 1 is 7. 6 times 2 is 12. Okay, I need to put a 0 because I'm moving over in place value. So then 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 2 is 2, and then I add these. 2 plus 0 is 2, 7 plus 2 is 9, 2 plus 1 is 3, 1 plus 2 is 3. Okay, now does it make sense for my answer of 21 and 2/10 times 1 and 6/10 to be 3,392? No, it does not make any sense, right? So instead, we got to figure out where we put that decimal. Okay, now the way that we can do this every time is we look and see how many digits after the decimal do we have in our two factors. So in the first number, 21 and 2/10, we have one place after that decimal. And then we have one digit after the decimal in our other factor, and 1 plus 1 is 2. So we're going to start from the very back of our number, and we're going to move 2 places to the left, and that's where we put our decimal. 33 and 92 hundredths. Okay, and this makes sense, right? Because we're multiplying a number that's a little bit more than 20 times a number that's a little bit more than 1. So if this was 20 times 1, our answer would be 20. Okay, so if we're a little bit higher than 20 and we're a little bit over 1.5, we know that our answer has to be somewhere between 20 and 40. Otherwise, that would be 20 times 2, and 33 and 92 hundredths is in that ballpark. So if our answer was like 300 something, we know that would be wrong. If it was 3, that would be wrong. Okay, so we can kind of use mental math and estimation to help us see if our answer is somewhere where it should be. Okay, so that was example number 1. Let's look at example number 2. So we have 36 and 8/10 times 41 hundredths. We'll see here when I put my numbers down, I do not end up lining up my decimals, and that's okay for multiplication because unlike with addition and subtraction, we don't just bring that decimal down. We have to count the number of places that we should have after the decimal. And actually, sometimes lining up the decimals makes 6th graders forget that they have to do the counting, right? So we do not want to just drop down that decimal when we multiply. So now we multiply like we would if these were whole numbers. So 1 times 8 is 8, 1 times 6 is 6, 1 times 3 is 3. We put a 0 as a placeholder, and then 4 times 8 is 32. So put a 2 down, carry the 3 up there. 4 times 6 is 24. plus 3 more is 27. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 2 is 14. Okay, I add these up. 8 plus 0 is 8. 6 plus 2 is 8. 3 plus 7 is 10. 4 and 1 more is 5. And then we have the 1. So again, our answer is not 15,088. That would be kind of crazy if 36 times something that was less than 1 was going to equal 15,000 something. So we count the number of decimal places. So there's 1 digit after the decimal place in our first factor, and there's 2 places after the decimal in our second factor, and 1 plus 2 is 3. So I'm going to start at the end, and I'm going to count in 3 spaces. My answer is 15 and 88/100ths. Now, some of you guys might be saying, wait a second. We started with a number that was almost 37, and you're telling me that when we multiply it, we get around 15? We're used to when we multiply getting a number that is greater than our factors. But if we look at our 2 factors here, we have a number that's about 37, but then we have a number that's less than 1. If we were multiplying 37 times 1, we would get 37. If we were multiplying 37 times a number greater than 1, we'd get something greater than 37. But since we're multiplying approximately 37 times a number that's less than 1, our product is going to be less than 37. Okay, and so 41/100, that's pretty close to a half, which would be 5/10. And so we're taking about a half of 37, which is in the ballpark of 15. Okay, 15 is half of 30, and since we're a little bit less than half. So we can still use that method to see if we are close to the right answer based on where our decimal is. And you guys should have done that in the activity that I had you do before you started this section.